Hi guys, long time no see. I have been busy on the weekends putting together Magic Commander decks, and I tend to get a little lost and just find my way into spending the entire weekend or what free time I have on the weekend sitting at the dining room table with a playmat and some boxes of cards out. So I haven't had too much time or really gone over to the store, except for the occasional Magic purchase. This week my commander group has to take a week or two break because somebody had some important business they needed to attend to. So really had no reason to build more decks. I already had spent the previous 2 weekends building. I built a Joyra artifact and historic card deck, which is very fun and ramps like crazy. And then after that play day where I got to use that deck, I ended up building 2 more. Yeah, just 2, I believe. Maybe, did I build 3? How many boxes do I have? I think just 2. I built basically an all creatures deck for, I forget his name. There's that one commander where if you play a non-creature spell, he deals 6 damage to you. So I built a creature deck around him. I have a few other cards in there, maybe 5 spells that aren't creatures. And then I happened to pick up a bundle of Modern Horizons 2 that GameStop had on sale. That when that set came out, the bundles were like $85, and now they're down to about 60. So I picked up one of those, and in there I got a commander that basically does the same thing Joyra does, but for enchantments. So I quickly took all of my enchantment creatures from the Theros blocks and some other enchantments and built I think it's 100% enchantments except for the lands. I think I had like a couple of non-enchantments in there and ended up, when I was doing the editing down to the 100, I took those out. So that will hopefully work out well. I forget the name of that commander, but basically every time you play an enchantment spell, you draw a card and you gain 1 life. So, the entire deck is gaining life and drawing cards, so it's really fast. And Joyra, if you're not aware, is a card from Dominaria, where if you play a historic spell, you draw a card. Unfortunately, you don't gain a life, but so that deck is full of legendary creatures, artifacts, and I don't think I have any sagas in there because there aren't really that many great saga cards. But basically, almost every card I play, I draw a card. So anyway, since this week I was not putting together decks, I did go to the shop and pick up what was in my saver, which honestly was a okay amount of stuff, given it had been a while. I think I'd been there maybe a couple weeks ago, but nothing really since. So we'll just take a look here and see what I picked up. So first, and this looks like a one-shot, we have Hellboy and the BBRD Family Ties. Looks like a one-shot because it has no numbering on it at all. Normally, even with these, it'll have a number here. So since this has no number, I'm assuming it's going to be a one and done. Hellboy is one of the few things that I still have on my saver, and as long as Mike Mignola is putting out Hellboy stories, which A-list character for Marvel. So I haven't read issue 2 or obviously this issue number 3 yet, but I don't know, with Moon Knight, even though they have the Disney Plus series coming up soon with Moon Knight, they tend to get to issue 12 or so and then and then drop off. So we'll see how long that goes, or how long I continue to pick it up. Next we have Daredevil number 34 with this cool stained glass cover with the bullseye in the middle here, and kind of all the main characters are kind of in these glass panes around it. This has been a really good series by Chip Zdarsky. And when I picked this up, actually, I talked to the guy doing the register. I was mentioning how, he mentioned he likes this series, and I was kind of telling him out loud that I wonder how long they're going to keep Zdarsky on this, because Marvel's so happy to put out a new number 1 and change up creative teams. And he said he had heard that Zdarsky was basically going to be on there for a while, so we'll see. I mean, up to issue 34, that's a lot higher than the modern Marvel comics seem to be getting. A lot of this stuff they just restart so that they can give you a new number 1 and put number 1 on the front and try to sell it to you. Like case in point, this is Thor number 16, and they have the Legacy numbering up in the top corner, and it's Legacy issue 742. But 15 issues ago they put Donny Cates on here, and they needed to have a new issue number 1. So that's what we got, and I'm sure once Donny Cates figures out that Donny Cates finishes up his run, I'm sure whoever comes on next will get a number 1. Not so much because the series is restarting, but just because it's a jumping on point, quote unquote. So Thor's been pretty good. It's been interesting, but I don't feel like it comes out monthly. It just kind of feels delayed sometimes. So but I'm picking it up until Donny Cates is off, because I found his work to be interesting on the book. I never read any of his Venom stuff. I'm not really a Venom fan, so I know that he kind of came to prominence off those books, but I've basically been picking up the other stuff that he might run into, or, Guardians and things like that here and there. Next we have Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, number 4 of 8, by Tom King. This cover's really kind of hard to tell what's going on here, but Tom King has a few miniseries going right now with DC, and it's the only DC I'm picking up. Every now and then on Facebook, DC will post like, oh, here's what's available, new DC Day, since they are not a Diamond shipped anymore, and they have their own distributor and come out on Tuesday, just to make themselves feel special. And basically it'll be like just a little video of the covers for that week's issues, and I cannot say that I am enthralled or enticed by any of those books. I am amazed that Batman and Detective are still in this fear state, and future, what was that? Future state, yeah, future state and fear state, kind of stories. DC future stuff has never enticed me when they do, like, oh, we're gonna look at the future. It always turns out to be shit. And the fact that they've been kind of riding that wave for months and months and months is confusing to me. And then over on Superman, Jonathan Kent now is the main in the Superman book, and then Clark Kent is the main in those are both written by the same guy who I had never heard of him when he took over. So it was easy for me to kind of jettison myself from those books, unfortunately. And honestly, the whole DC line as a whole right now just feels very... I don't think they know what their end game is. I think they're just kind of throwing darts at the wall and hoping that something is going to stick. And what they have kind of held on to with the future state and things like that have not been anything that interests me or that I think I need to look into. So unfortunately, I just haven't been buying the books. So and to an extent, when you stop buying the books, it's very easy to not know when to go back. So I mean, even if they did something interesting or new, I don't know if I would hear about it. I might just miss out. And that's a sad thing, but that's something that might happen. So next year we have the Old Guard Tales Through Time, and this is issue number 5, and then we also have issue number 6. So and 6 is the last one, so it's a 6-issue kind of a mini series slash what are those called? I've lost the word for it, but when they have multiple just short stories in them, kind of a collection book. So this has been by a few different people. Every issue has had a couple guest writers and artists, and then normally Greg Rucka and the lead artist Fernandez have had at least one story in there. So it's been very good if you like the Old Guard universe. I've still yet to watch the movie on Netflix. Eventually, I will get to that. Hopefully not too long. I'm very behind in my TV watching with 2 small children that take your TV from you, or at least one of them takes my TV from me. I'll be in the middle of watching a football game and she'll ask if she can take the TV, even though we have 3. But finding time to watch things like the Disney Plus series or Netflix or Hulu is very it's rare that I have time, and now with football season that's even rarer. So next year is Oblivion Song number 33. I cannot remember if this is the last one or the penultimate issue, because I know it's ending rather soon, maybe 34, 35 at the latest. Oblivion Song I know is one book that for a while I thought about dropping because I was worried that Robert Kirkman was going to keep going, kind of like Walking Dead, where it feels like it has a definitive end coming and then it draws out. And I know some people I'm sure there's some people maybe who liked all of Walking Dead, all 160 whatever issues. Personally, I read through issue 50 as part of the Walking Dead Weekly that they did when the TV show started up, which got you through the prison storyline. But before they got to the, they find that settlement that they kind of settle down in for a while. So I'd read those, and then I read some of the trade paperbacks. And then, I know at some point it kind of jumped the shark. And personally I stopped before series, a whole bunch of miniseries that will keep going. Moon Knight and Daredevil are ongoings. So is Thor, but, like the Supergirl book is a miniseries halfway in. The Old Guard miniseries is now done. Oblivion Song has a handful of issues. I'm getting to the point where my saver is going to be very sparse. Like this is Osaki Ochimpo, Dragon Bellow Conspiracy. I wasn't going to pick this up because I found out recently that Dragon Bellow Conspiracy, which they just kind of plastered on here, and they had a really cool cover for issue 1. It's really just a reprint of a specific storyline from early in the Osaki books, and the interior art is the original art, just with color. Which tells me that I can't trust IDW in their printing of Osaki, and that I just need to pick up the mainline book, because I have some of the Osaki trade paperbacks. There isn't a lot of Osaki I'm missing, so, just simply putting Osaki Ochimpo and putting the name of the storyline, if I don't remember that storyline is part of a particular trade paperback, then here I am buying it again. So, with Osaki, I've basically gotten to the point where, I will pick up Osaki Ochimpo. This is issue 22 from IDW, but anything that says Osaki Ochimpo but isn't the regular numbering, I don't trust it now to be anything new, and I'll have to pass it up, so, which is a shame, because I do like Stan Sakai, and I find the Osaki books to be very artistically, they merit reading. But if IDW is going to print a whole bunch of old stuff and not be very, clear about it, transparent in their printings, then that's what you gotta do, right? So, like, for a while I was willing to buy things just for the covers, but it's really just not doable in today's marketplace. There's just so many covers that if you just bought stuff for cool cover art, you'd be poor. So this is Batman Catwoman issue 7, and by Tom King. It says the art on this issue is by Liam Sharp, who I don't think he was the artist to begin with. Wasn't it Clayman? Yeah, I believe Clayman was the artist on the first few issues, so I wonder what happened there. They did take a break earlier this year, to the point where I wondered if the series had ended and I had missed out on some issues. But then I know I looked it up and they had just taken a brief hiatus. So I wonder if Clayman wasn't keeping up and they had to bring on other artists. Of course, Liam Sharp is a great artist too, so very specific line work with him, so I don't mind. But this is a mini-series, basically supposed to be finishing up Tom King's work on Batman, just in general. And I believe this to be 12 issues, so, we're more than halfway through on that. And then the last issue for this week is what I believe to be the final issue of Rorschach, also from Tom King, issue 12. I have issue 11 that I need to read, but I've mostly been up to date, so I've read issue 10. And this has been a good series. If you haven't read it, I would suggest picking it up in trade paperback. It's well worth the read. But one more thing that'll be won't be in my pull list next month, because as these as these series kind of drop off, I'm kind of running out of books that I'm going to be collecting since DC is only printing miniseries that I'm picking up and they're slowly coming to an end. And Marvel has maybe a handful of ongoing, but you never know when they're going to cut ties like they did with Hickman, and on all of a sudden, I'm not picking up X-Men, and then Al Ewing's Hulk should be coming to an end, I think in the next 4 or 5 issues, and then I'll probably be dropping that. So I'm honestly getting to the point where, most of the time if I'm going to the shop, it's for Magic cards, because I'm playing weekly and I'm getting use and enjoyment out of those. And honestly, you can buy a booster box of cards and it won't even fill up one of these deck boxes, and like these two on the right here are empty, and these two on the left are kind of a mixture of stuff that I don't have not too long ago I had gone through my collection, kind of done everything by color, so I have boxes now that are marked, blue and red, and I kind of put them all in spaces in the house where it's like that's where all my red cards are, and so on and so forth. So these two are full of cards that basically don't fit in any of the boxes that say blue or red, because I've just filled up those boxes, but there isn't enough of any one color to fill a new box and put it away. So but it's like Magic cards. Maybe you buy a booster box for $100 or so every like 3 months, and then I'm using those cards. I'm playing with those cards. There's an everyday, or at least once a week interaction with those purchases, and they take up a lot less space. Whereas with comic books, for the longest time, I was spending about $65 to $70 a week. And, looking back on it now, it's like a lot of that stuff, is it all-time great runs? Some of it. Are all of them? No. And, they take up so much more space and require so much more of a footprint in your house. Right now, like I'm going through, before my son was born, I went through and did a purge of about 15 boxes, and I sold a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm going through what I kept and doing a hard purge of stuff that was kind of middling that I kept the first time through because I just wasn't ready to let go of it yet. But now it's like looking through, it's like, do I need, Ultimate Series 3 by Hickman, which I kind of remember as being okay but weird? No. I can let that go. Do I need Avenging Spider-Man, which was like maybe an 8-issue series? Not really. Do I need the Iron Man series where he was director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? It was okay, but, am I going to read that again in comparison to, like, the Extremist books or, things like that? Probably not, so I can let go of things like that. And, like one thing I almost cut, and then I think I ended up cutting half of it when I was going through the boxes last time, was, like, the Francis Manipal Flash, after Jeff Johns left as writer and they let Francis Manipal and I think it was Brian Buccellato was the inker slash co-writer, and that stuff I just finally, I'm like, Jeff Johns' Flash I will always keep, but the stuff after that realistically was not of the same level, and I don't need to hold on to those. So I'm kind of slowly getting rid of stuff like that from the collection. And 60s, 70s Marvel titles where they had the stripe across the top, Marvel Comics, and then the little box here. That's the kind of stuff I initially collected when I was younger, and that's kind of the stuff I want to, I'll hold on to that. But some of these things I picked up in my, 20s, 30s, as I got back into collecting, are not anything that I need to sit down and take up space in my house with. So I'm slowly going through I have an understairs storage where most of my books are right now. And then I have some that are in a storage locker. Like I had a box that I was going to take to storage that I had already filled it up. And I went through that and got rid of a good chunk of stuff. And then kind of backfilled from another box that I'd started filling to go to storage. And then I went through about 7 boxes under the stairs and got rid of, there's like 2 piles over here that are probably 50 deep each. So a good chunk of stuff, things that I've collected recently or towards the end of my hardcore collecting, where I'm looking back and I'm like, do I need this Teen Titans from Bendis that I thought was kind of so-so? No, let me just toss all of it. Or do I need the Bendis Action Comics run that I finished up that I thought was pretty so-so? No. So, things like that are getting jettisoned so that I can make room for, things like this, the last few vestiges of my monthly collecting here. So, that is it for today, guys. Next time, I will probably be looking at some Magic cards. I picked up a booster box of the new Innistrad set, which was, interesting if you like werewolves. But maybe we'll do some pack openings and things like that, as the comics are kind of, except for issues here and there. I think the comics are going to be winding down, unless it's very specific stuff I'm looking for. So, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time.